Hello everyone and welcome to the Beyond Enough podcast. I am joined by another absolutely incredible guest. I'm going to let Jenny introduce herself in a minute, but thank you for being here. As you all know, hopefully by now, in this podcast we are speaking to the most incredible female entrepreneurs who have created something just beyond the norm. They have gone over and beyond for themselves, for their families, and they are doing something truly inspirational. And so we're here to really discuss those stories about how they got there, what they want to do going forward, and really tap into, I guess, the side of entrepreneurship that is perhaps less talked about, right? So without further ado, I'm going to let Jenny quickly introduce herself, and then we're going to dive into the stories of who she really is behind that and how she got there. So, Jenny!
Hello! Thank you for having me. This is amazing. So I am Jenny Priestner. I'm a manifestation and mindset mentor, master NLP practitioner, channel and healer, and I help soul-led entrepreneurs align with their authentic self. It is a remembering, it is a connection to who they truly are to help them manifest.
I am so happy that you're here, and I know we have had a quick conversation. I don't think it was a quick conversation that we had though. But we are so aligned. We are so aligned in what we want for women, and although I say this all the time, like we have different approaches and we are different people and we have different stories, but that goal is the same, right? To really empower women. It's delicious.
Definitely. Do you know what though? I find this across the spectrum with different coaches. Whenever I'm tapping into different people's Instagrams, I always find that underneath the core of it, everyone just wants these women just to show up as their authentic selves. So whether that be a content coach, it's like just show up as yourself. So it is what I'm finding, that we've all got the same message and the same dream and the same hope of empowering other women to just shed all the skins of who they think they should be and just show up as their raw, natural self. So yeah, I see this. Whether it's in my subconscious now, my reticular activation system is finding my soul tribe.
That your algorithm just knows. Like it just knows who should be in your world. Like that is a magical point, I think. I love it. Well, you have the most interesting backstory. Let's be honest. When I say backstory, I mean multiple stories, right?
I think it's got a backstory, hasn't it? It's like, yeah, you know when someone says to me like, so go on then, tell me a bit about yourself. I'm like, clear your calendar chaps, honestly, because I
love that though, because you are so perfect for these kind of conversations, because what I really want to get across, it's so easy to look at a coach and think, oh, they've got it all together, you know, they're making good money, they look like they're off in Bali for a weekend or whatever, and then when you actually start to dig beneath the surface, you start to understand that this person has been through so many challenges, especially women. Like, we have been through it, and you specifically have overcome so much to get to this point in your business. So take me right back to the beginning of, I don't know, I guess the start of your career, shall we say, not your business career, your first career after maybe leaving school, and tell me what that was like for you, being a young woman.
So I went to an all-girls school. I'm just going to start there. And I never but I know I vibe with boys a lot more than girls, because girls were always like really bitchy and really two-faced, whereas boys were just like exactly what it says on the tin. You can just chill, you can just do what you want to do. But with girls, so I learned from a young age that like girls have a lot of drama attached to them. But I never really kind of fit in at school. I was never one of the super populars, but I was never one of the geeks. I was an in-betweener, so I could go between the two. But yeah, it was always like, you know, Jenny's not doing that well, Jenny's this. And then when I went and did my A-levels, I did sociology and psychology, and that is when I started to thrive, because I was aligned with subjects that I was interested in. So it's like, Jenny is my star pupil, Jenny is this. So I was like, right, okay, you know, this is human behaviour is my jam. You know, like I didn't really have to think. It was all just coming together for me. And if I think now, it's an understanding of, it was a remembering of all the information that was already activated within me. So it wasn't a case of learning, it was just remembering. So yeah, that was all very interesting. And then went to uni, did psychology with criminology, actually, because I like to understand like why people commit crimes, like why are they doing this, like what is that, you know, is it nature, is it nurture? And then when I left uni it was right at the beginning of, like when the financial collapse, and I couldn't even get a job as a receptionist in a prison. Like, I could not get a job anywhere. So I just started temping in offices, and I ended up one company because I love being organised, and I mean, like, super kind of OCD, paperwork, everything, so running accounts came easily to me because I was a really organised person. So I started working for this company that manufactures, massive great big rolls of paper, gets it brought into the country. So I was looking after titles like Look, Marie Claire, things like that. And I just thought, this isn't my dream, it isn't my passion, but I'm really good at it. So I took a job there. Fast forward 16 years, I got, I was working my way up the corporate ladder. I had my little boy there, so I had like maternity leave and things like that. I moved on to the other side of the business, which again was very male dominated, very masculine energy, very, what the computer says is what we're going to do, whereas my intuition was really kicking in at this point, and I feel things, but whereas they were thinking things. So there was a misalignment there. I was working my way up the corporate ladder. I was a global sales manager, like responsible for, many accounts, like multi-million euros and dollars and pounds worth of accounts. And again, because I'm really organised and I was a people person, but there was something missing. There was a calling that was calling my name. But throughout all of this as well, I was going through my spiritual journey, which at the time, you don't realise you're going through a spiritual awakening. You're just thinking, like,
it does though.
What the fuck is happening here? But upon hindsight, I now understand it was the dark night of the soul. But at the time, I didn't get that. You're going through a spiritual awakening leaflet. I didn't sign up for that. So yeah,
yes,
I feel like someone should make that. Like, you are at this point in your journey when you feel like your head is falling off and your arse is falling out. This is
we should do a pamphlet. Like, we should create a pamphlet. I love that so much. You're so right. Yes, I love it. Sorry to interrupt you. That's actually hilarious.
Oh yeah. So having a spiritual awakening while in a corporate business is, I don't know, I started to really realise how different I was from people and how much I was sort of moving away from the norm, so to speak. And, like, I'd come in sometimes, I'd be speaking about, like, cacao ceremonies, or I'd be speaking about the universe, and I'd just get the... call it the dead fish. Like, what are you on about? And I say that now, of, like, friends and family, don't get me wrong, but I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like, like cow, and they're like, so you sit on a yoga mat and drink hot chocolate? I'm like, well, it's a little bit more than that, but for your level of understanding, we'll go with that.
Jenny, is. I absolutely love that. You brought up so many good points, though. I think, firstly, I was literally talking about sisterhood wins in a masterclass I ran yesterday, and I think that's something that's so important to heal and to bring attention to, especially when you're a woman in business. And secondly, that moment where you start to realise that you're peeling away from everyone else around you is so difficult, because perhaps you were the same. When that started to happen to me and I felt like I was dying, I didn't have anyone around me who understood that. Like, and I love the way you're saying that. Like, retrospectively, we can fit that into our journey. We can understand what we were going through. But sometimes in the early stages of that process, you haven't found community yet. You don't know what's happening to you. You just feel like the world is crumbling around you.
It is that way. I mean, I've been very fortunate in the sense of I've got a lot of spiritual friends, and my best friend is a psychic medium and light language channel. So I've always definitely had spirituality there on my doorstep. I think it was just more what was happening in the sense of with health and with my life, and obviously with COVID started to kick in through all of that. So I did have the spirituality there to tap into. I just didn't understand that what I was going through was a spiritual awakening, so to speak. I just thought, like, my world was imploding and I was just having to deal with it in a human kind of way. But yeah, that realisation of when it's, again, you're not realising that what the separation is. You're just starting to realise, I don't belong here anymore. Like, this doesn't feel right. These people are on a different frequency to me now. It's not a different level, because that sounds like I'm above them. It wasn't about that. The people that I worked with were beautiful, amazing, funny characters. We were just on a different frequency, and that was the separation that I was feeling.
It does. You feel very different to those around you, and it is really, I think it's so hard when you're in that moment, like you say, you can't really see the wood for the trees. Like, you're just kind of going through the motions and trying to understand what it is that's happening to you. I love that. So we're going through this, we're having this spiritual experience. We don't really know what's happening yet. And you're in this corporate, which is starting to not feel very aligned. So what does Jenny do next?
So I feel like I need to kind of explain what was actually happening through my spiritual awakening, just so it's like it can be understood and realised, like, what was actually happening during the time of being through corporate. Like, by this point,
take it right back. We're here for it. We're here for it.
I feel like I need to rewind a little bit further. Right back now. Take it back now, y'all. Right. Okay. So, in the beginning, I have to explain this, because I feel like then, like, it all adds to it, because the shitstorm that appeared later on in life, you're just going to be sat there like, what is actually happening here? So, right, if I explain that, like, so when I was born, I was born with a rare blood disorder called pyruvate kinase deficiency, and it was that rare that the NHS didn't even know what it was or what to do with it. But the fortunate thing for me is my brother was born 3 years earlier with it, and so he was the guinea pig. Like, literally, he was born and they were just like, we actually just don't know what to do with him, okay? So, so it took, like, it was that rare that we used to get sent down to London, you know, to, like, hospitals for testing and to be learned from, and, you know, things like that. So, in a nutshell, it's basically, so it's, everyone's heard of anemia, haven't they? You know, like when you're pregnant, you get anemia. So I was born with that. So my body, with the spleen, it was making my red blood cells, but it wasn't making them very well, and it was killing them off early. So I was just like, as a child, just jaundice, yellow, tired all the time. So I used to have transfusions, like, as a kid. So, like, so that was life growing up. So obviously, like, always flat battery, always kind of ill. Obviously, I did have the days where I'm going out and playing out, but then again, illness would catch up with me. And then, so all that was kind of going on. And then at the age 7, it was like, right, okay, we've got the cure. So, to make this better, we'll take your spleen out, and we'll take your organ out. So I had, like, major surgery at age 7. So this is something that I now have had to heal from. Because if we think about it, trauma is anything that happens to someone in their life that shakes up the nervous system. And I always explain it as it can be divorce, it can be splitting up with someone, it can be, you know, even like childhood trauma, you know, in the sense of, you know, neglect, abuse, anything like that. But this was my trauma. But because I'd lived with it, I wouldn't have necessarily associated it with that, you know, like, oh, I've had a traumatic childhood. It just was what it was. So then fast forward, then I didn't have to have transfusions then up until later on, like when I got pregnant with my little boy, because you get anemic when you're pregnant. So anemia on top of anemia is just like I couldn't even, I don't know, function really. Like my brain would just be like, but I would still get up every day, go to work, go and get work done. Like, in my eyes, there's no excuses. You crack on, like, you get up and you go and get it done. So, and then with all that given, then come to where I was a little bit later on when my spiritual awakening started to happen. I got diagnosed with PMDD. So this is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So if anybody is familiar with it, honestly, I'm sending you love, care, and whatever you need to get through these situations. For anyone not familiar with it, it's where you're allergic to your own hormones, right? So just before your period starts, you'll get like a spike in hormones, and that spike was hitting my brain and just sending me like crazy. It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde on roids. It is crazy. So I was getting like, they call them like bipolar episodes. Like 1 minute you're like, oh my god, life is amazing, then the next minute you're like, I don't want to be here. Like, I was getting suicidal thoughts every month, and I started having to have transfusions again then, because my health was just deteriorating. So at this point, if we start looking at this bigger picture now, so there was the lack of energy from having the transfusions, the lack of energy from this PMDD, there was the emotional, physical, like everything was just like every month I didn't want to be here, and it was quite a loud noise. My inner critic was on fire, telling me that I can't do this. Everything kind of got amplified. I've never really had anxiety, but anxiety came in. I've never really had depression, but depression came in. It was as if the universe was going, here's an experience, here's an experience, here's an experience, and I was just feeling like 50 shades of shit every single month. But again, I had to get up every day, go to work, look after my son, because I was a single parent at this point. And I know you're like, okay, right, so what is this girl suffering with at this moment in time? Exactly. So there was just this massive, great big batch of shit that the universe was sending me. And it just got to the point where the days where I was just like, I just don't want to be here. Like, I actually really don't want to be here. But then, as soon as like Crimson Tide and Mother Nature come and visited me, all the hormones would subside, and they'd be like, life is good, life is absolutely fine. And it was that volatility of, don't want to be here, life's amazing, don't want to be here. It was, I don't even know how I got through it, to be honest. And at the time as well, I remember your question now, by the way. But it's, so this was my dark night of the soul, this was my awakening. And at the time, I didn't realise it, because I just felt so victim mode. I was like, why is this happening to me? Like, why me? Poor me. So there was, it was at this point, like the phoenix had well and truly burnt out, okay? But I hadn't gathered my strength to build myself up yet, to rise from the ashes. So this is where, when you're in a spiritual awakening, if you're not aware of what one is, you just feel like life is falling apart and this is it now. And that's where I spent like quite a couple of years, to be honest, because I don't know about you, like sometimes when something happens,
100%,
you're kind of just in denial of it happening and you just carry on with it. So it's like I was really ill with like, what they call it, like cysts and everything as well. And every month I was in so much pain. But I just kind of wrote it off as like, oh, that's me, that this is just what's happening. Because obviously maybe of what I'd experienced as a child, it was just like, yeah, but it is just what it is, like, just crack on. And I explained to the point of how bad it used to get, like on my corporate job, I was that drained and that knackered. I'd either be sat in floods of tears at my desk, trying to like discreetly wipe it away, or I'd be asleep on my desk. And when I got an email in, I'd like wake up, do my order, do my email, and then go straight back to sleep again.
No, I cannot stress enough like how important it is to have these conversations, because exactly what you're saying. I had PMDD. It was horrific. I fully relate. It is. You think you're actually losing your mind, but to go through, you do. But to go through that for such a sustained amount of time. Of course you don't have energy. Like, of course you don't have that inner strength to say, I need to take a step back and see how I can help myself. Like, of course you don't have that moment of like, you have no time to just sit with what's going on and understand any of it, because you're so up and down continuously. You spend 2 weeks of the month in despair, and then the other 2 weeks of the month trying to pull your life back together and trying to just put it all back because you've blown it up, like that's...
You just articulated that perfectly. And I need to like, did you ever do it like, I had I do have a partner, I had PMDD, and I used to call it the conveyor belt of emotion, because it'd be moving, and it'd be happy Jen, happy Jen, happy Jen. I'm like, I had to actually, because I literally was a different person. So Jenny was Jenny, and Suicide Sally used to come, so we used to call it Sally, so it's like, right, it's Sally here now. And like the worst of shit that Sally used to leave behind, like she would cause murders in my relationship, and then when I'd like massive, I don't know, I'd just blow up, and then when I'd wake up like on my period, I'd look.
Yes.
It was like waking up from a hangover, like having birthday where you wake up and you've caused that much shit the night before, that when you wake up you're like, oh fuck's sake. And that's exactly what it was like I was causing nightmares in the Sally mode, and then in normal
you're just mopping up all the shit, like you're just literally like, okay, let's put out all the fires that I've just started, like I've been adding fuel to, you know what I mean? It's like you set the fire and then you just keep pouring more and more fuel on it till it's completely blowing up your life, and then like you say, you wake up one morning, Mother Nature kindly bestows it's almost like a period starts to become a blessing though, which is weird. I think for most women it's like an inconvenience for most of their life, and then you suddenly start to wait for this, like, I just want to bleed, I need this now. Like, you're just waiting for it to happen so you can step out of, like, it is, you're like in a bubble in your mind, like you're operating on this complete survival mode. It's horrific, and then you're dousing out a fire for another 2 or 3 weeks until you know it's all going to kick up, and that in itself is exhausting and overwhelming and, quite frankly, horrific.
Do you know what I think one of the worst things happening was as well? You know, like, when you knew your next period was coming, it was like batting down the hatches. I was like preparing for a storm. You know, like, it's coming, shit's going to happen now. And then as the hormones started to creak in, I'm like, I'm not an angry person. I don't get angry. I'm proper chilled. And at this point as well, I was trying to homeschool my son, trying to homeschool a boy with PMDD. Oh my God, I remember I was stood on the kitchen floor and the anger that ran through me, my toes curled, like, I was like, I used to have to remove myself from the situation and just be like, and I don't experience rage, and no one can really kind of understand what happens with PMDD, but I feel like I've come to my own conclusions in life. And again, this is not explained by anyone, because PMDD is so rare. Again, I was blessed with another rare thing. I used to be like, universe, what the fuck are you playing at? But some doctors had never even heard of it. I was very lucky to be diagnosed with it. But I used to be on like a couple of support groups on Facebook, and other women would be like, no, doctors never heard of it. They're telling me I've got bipolar. And like, that's scary. Like, I even went to a gynecologist and she'd never heard of it. A gynecologist had never heard of it. Like, I understand PMDD now as the universe giving me an opportunity, because if we think about it, if throughout all of your life you've collected all the programming and conditioning of your parents, you've collected all the trauma as a child, and then you're holding on to all this energy, right? And if you imagine, I always say it like, you know, when Willy Wonka in there, Violet, you're turning violet, and she starts blowing up like that. And you're literally walking around holding on to all this energy. It's like, how on earth are you ever supposed to, like, release it? You are literally, it's like a Coca-Cola bottle that's been shook up, and you throw Mentos in it, and every month it was like, you know, like releasing. And it really was the universe, because I explain everything in an energetic way. It was the universe, like, allowing me to release energy that I'd never released. And that's why I was experiencing rage. I was experiencing depression. I was crying my eyes out because all this was stored within my vessel, that all of a sudden now, like, everything that I'd never felt as a child, all the hurt, all the pain, and it was never understood at that time. You know, every time you'd come in and you'd cry in your eyes, like, oh, come on now, stop crying. That energy is held within your body because it has not been allowed to be transmuted. So this is the explanation that I have sort of channeled for myself, to be honest, that PMDD is kind of awarded to women as an opportunity to release the energy that is holding them back from being the best version of themselves. So this is not scientifically backed, this is not energetically backed, but this is me coming to my own conclusion through my experience, because without that, I wouldn't have felt the emotions and released what needed. Yeah,
you'd still be there, right? Like, you'd still be there, full of all stuff. And I love that explanation, actually. And interestingly, from my own experience with PMDD, which I can't remember who I was talking to this about the other day. I speak about it at every given opportunity, because, like you say, there's very little known about it. There's very little awareness around it. I diagnosed myself through pure chance, like pure luck, that I was self-aware enough to understand that these symptoms came before my period, and went on a Google or TikTok hole. And yeah, totally. And phoned my doctor and went, I think I have this. And they gave me antidepressants. They tried to, and it was absolute utter rubbish. Yeah. And same thing as you, like, you need to be able to deal with what's going on with yourself energetically, emotionally, in order to get through this. And for me, a lot of that was to do with the stress in my marriage that I hadn't yet come to, like, I knew it was happening, I hadn't accepted it yet. I was Violet. And I did go and seek help from, I always think this is important to say this, like, I did seek help from a herbalist in the end, and one of the most helpful things to me was, and I religiously take now, is a vitamin B complex, and a magnesium, and that really does help hormonally. But you are so right. The biggest thing that helped me with this was emotional release, and that is true of so many, I think, of the conditions and experiences we have. Is stress related, is emotional, is an energetic problem that we've just suppressed so much of what's happened to us for such a long time, that we are Violet. And actually, until you start to learn how to manage all of that and start to, like you say, accept how we're truly feeling, rather than saying, it'll be fine, everything's fine. I'm going to pretend I'm not upset that person told me that thing, or I'm going to pretend that I'm not pissed off at my partner for, buggering off down the pub with his mates. Instead of saying, I'm annoyed about that, we suppress it and add to this, this huge swelling of emotion that's never been properly dealt with. I don't know, like this.
I just got the picture of that.
I should have worked purple
on the factory. It's mad because I like how you self-diagnose yourself. For years, well, to be honest, I think mine happened after having Harvey. So I had Harvey in 2013, and your hormones always got shaken up, don't they, after you've had a kid. And to be honest, the suicidal thoughts were going on for quite a while. And you know what? I genuinely thought that this was normal, PMS. I genuinely thought other women are feeling how I'm feeling. It was only when it was starting to become really quite problematic and I was crying loads, I went to the doctors and I'm like, so this is happening to me every month, and he's like, right, I think you've got PMDD. And I was like, oh right, okay. So it's, I normalised it. I think because illness has always been accepted within my body, I've always downplayed everything. And the amount of times in my life I should have, if I've got an infection and I should have been in A&E, I've always just been like, it's fine, I'm just ill, because I was always just ill. So I've always played down, honestly, I have been laying at home in bed, ill. I should have gone to hospital, it's fine, it's fine, it's only me. And it's, again, that accepting of...
That's a culture of this. I don't know if it's a British culture, but it's I'll just keep it till it's better. And my sister, bless her, was having... my mum thought my sister was actually having a baby. She thought my sister was in labour, and it was her gallbladder. And at this point, it had been about 6 months of my sister... basically ignoring this pain, thinking it's just heartburn, it's just this, it's just that, and she needed emergency gallbladder surgery. And the doctor essentially said to her, people come in within 3 hours of this happening because they can't take it anymore, and you've had this for 6 weeks. What are you doing? You should have been here weeks ago. But she has this whole thing of I just need to get on with it. I've got to go to work, I got to do the thing, and just didn't take a moment to say, well, maybe this excruciating pain that I'm in isn't normal. We just kind of normalise suffering almost, and again, I think it is a difficult time. I understand that the NHS is maybe under a lot of pressure, and that's a conversation for another day, but there does seem to be this culture, especially with women, of I'll just get on with it.
I think we have to, because I'm not going to get into the whole which sex is the stronger sex kind of thing, but women have to deal with a lot, as in, obviously there's even if you're not a single parent, I guarantee that most women do 80% of the parenting. And I'm not going to throw shade on men, because some women do have a very supportive man where it is 50-50, but some men babysit their kids, as in it's oh, can you look after the kids while I just go in it? It's it shouldn't be like that. It should be an equal partnership. So it's, that's another conversation for a different day. But it's women, if we don't get up and do what we need to do, then it don't get done. So kids need to go to school. So no matter what pain you're in, it's pushing through. But by pushing through that pain, again, it's that suppression. Where's it gonna go?
No, you're so right. You're so right. So it's, for most women, they are the default parent, no matter how supportive their partner is. And there's so many, I'm not a man hater, I'm not going to sit here, I have so many great men in my life, and I'm so grateful for, one of my favourite people in my life is my dad. He is incredible. He's an incredible man, but we are, most of the time for women, you are the default parent, and you're right, you just have to suck it up and get on with it a lot of the time. But there is a place, certainly, for, like you say, self-care, and that does include looking after yourself and being aware of, okay, what are all these things that are affecting me, and what am I needing? Like, what do I need to fulfill my needs in order to show up as the best version of me, as someone who feels really good about themselves, Like, that's really important.
See, I never had that mentality. Like, when I was at my worst, I never understood self-care, self-love. Yep. I was literally in survival mode. Like, and this is what I help people to do. They don't realise it. If I say to you, I help you move from survival mode, someone's like, well, I'm not in it. And it's like, yes, you fucking are. But again, when you're working with people, we've got to work with the terminology that people understand. And most people that I work with, they are like, they're in like a vigilant survival mode, but they don't realise it. When you are in flow with the universe, everything is beautiful, everything is natural, everything is just happening, and you are just living. You aren't surviving, you are thriving. But yeah, like I would never go and run myself a bath. I would literally just job, get things done. And it was like my friend had come round one time, and this was when I was in the thick of it. I was sat on my back step, like Googling like depression and emotional numbness, because I just felt dead and empty inside. And she's like, go and get a bath. And I was like, a bath? Do you know how much I've got to do? Honestly, I was in uproar that she'd suggested to me to go and take, half an hour out for myself. But now, like, I always have myself, like, my cosmic bath salts. I developed, like, my own line of cosmic salts because, like, they help me channel, they help me connect, and they are, again, just releasing all the energy and toxins that we are holding on to in life, not only physically, but energetically. So, yeah, everything that I have been through has allowed me to create my courses, my package, my products, in order to help women, like, be who they're meant to be and just get rid of all this old energy.
I want some bath salts. So. And I will definitely have them linked for everyone underneath this episode. I love that. I think you're right, and it reminds me of two things. The rage clean, the period rage cleaning, which I think every single woman that I've ever talked to has admitted to doing that. Like, I remember the herbalist that I spoke to about my PMDD said that, is it progesterone in your luteal phase, I think it's progesterone, is the resentment hormone. So, like, you start to just get really annoyed at your partner and everyone around you and really resentful, and that's what drives that neurotic cleaning the week before your period. I don't know, like, it just seems to be a thing that women do. But secondly, yes, that constant need to be almost proving yourself and doing, because you're avoiding processing, you're avoiding, like, taking that moment to be alone with your thoughts and understand what's going on. You're almost like, I need to be busy, I need to make myself busy, I need to keep going, I need to keep doing, in that very hyper-masculine survival, rather than take it, like, you don't have the tools at that moment, like, we're, kind of talking I guess, spiritual awakening or pre-understanding of your emotional health and how to kind of handle that sort of thing. It is distraction, I think, a lot of the time for people, like, just constantly have it, like, do. I'm going to just keep doing to survive this, to get through this, to, almost in your mind trying to keep that momentum of keeping going forward. Like, I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
I like that, but as I see as well, the rage clean, if you remember, I always like to explain everything, because of my manifestation and mindset mentor, everything I like to explain, even when people come to me with different jobs, so say they're a cleaner, I explain their job in an energetic way, so I always analyse things from an energy point of view. So how you're saying there about the rage clean, how I've explained what is where your body is purging energy, like, it's allowing you. So if you're thinking about it, that rage clean, you are subconsciously also cleaning your area, going out through the cupboards, because your body is just like, I need to cleanse my area. And, like, this is the thing, like, energy isn't just within us, it's everywhere. And in my masterclasses I speak about this. This is the 0 point field right here, right? This is the place of manifestation, this beautiful area. Manifestation doesn't happen up in the universe. This energy here has just got so much going for it. And I don't just mean in my room, I mean in your room as well. But it's like the energy of all around us. So if you're going around frantically cleaning out your cupboards, on a subconscious level, your higher self is like, shit, I've got to go for a clear out, because when we get rid of the old, we welcome in the new. And this is how we manifest in life. And most people, they're like, universe, I'm ready for my brand new exciting life, but I'm still going to hold on to my old life because I love it so much. And it's like, that, my friend, is not going to happen. You have to allow the energy of the universe to move through you. So this is where we have to dissolve the ego. This is where we have to let go of the version of yourself that you're so tightly holding on to, because it is familiar and we know it. But yeah, this is how we create.
I know, we're like, oh, I love that. It is the purge. Yes, it's the purge, isn't it? It's the purge. Also, interestingly, the purge that comes with your period, right? Like letting go, the shedding, you know, the release, all of these things. Oh, I love it. I am so obsessed. I'm obsessed with you in general.
I like how you've gone for like the herbalist approach. I just like to describe my cure for my PMDD was just to go and get a total hysterectomy. I just got everything out.
The extreme.
Funnily enough, right? What is it? Total hysterectomy with bilateral salpingo oophorectomy.
Wow.
Honestly, when I read what the operation was, I was like, sounds fun. So yeah, that is just like everything. But do you know what? It cured. I've never had a transfusion since. Everything, it just healed everything in my body because I cut out this energetic ball of trauma and just threw it away. And honestly, I've never felt more energy in my body or more air in my lungs since. And I did a lot of, it doesn't just provide the cure, as in, because I used to read, this is again the power of mindset. I used to be in all these support groups, and one would be like, oh, I've had a hysterectomy, it was the best thing ever, it's cured my PMDD. And then I'd read another person's and they're like, oh my god, it's the worst thing that I've ever done. And I'm used to thinking to myself, I've got two stories here in front of me. I'm like, I am investing my mindset, my energy into the person who's saying, yes, it worked for me. So I was telling myself, this is it, this is the thing, I'm gonna feel amazing. So again though, you have got control of your life. You can program yourselves, tell yourself which eventuality you want. So yeah, that was my cure, I'm afraid.
I know that there will be women watching this who maybe even don't know that this is something they're suffering with, and that actually, you should not be at this extreme pre-period every month. That is disordered PMS or it's PMDD, and there isn't just one solution, right? We have demonstrated, the two of us, that there are different solutions for different women with different circumstances, with different needs, and searching for your own answer around this is really important, because there will be, there's different choices for each of us. And as far as the support groups go, I actually came out of all of them because they were so negative, and I was like, I am not engaging in this at all, because like you, I am very protective of my mindset and what I choose to believe. And I was like, I choose to believe that I will get through this, and I will choose to believe that I will find my own solution. You get to choose to look for your own solutions and to have the mindset of, I am going to find a solution for myself, and that solution is going to work really well for me. And I think that's so important. So again, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so interested in how you moved through all of this. I mean, to say you got kicked repeatedly by the universe is an understatement. And I'd love to know, through all of that, what I guess was the first step for you into helping other women with this, and getting that realization of, actually, this is something that I can really help other women with.
So I think when I had my hysterectomy, when I had my surgery I had it in August 2021, and before this, again, I hadn't even thought to help other people. It was just a case of I'm in a storm of shit, I need to sort myself out. And when I was going down to the surgery, I was saying I was just crying. I just constantly cried. The tap was on, just releasing. And I said to myself, when I wake up, I am going to be a different person. And the power of intention was laser sharp. I was like, listen up here, universe, because this is happening, right? It was, honestly, as I was going down to surgery, so that power, the intention was, when I wake up, I am going to be a different person. And when I woke up, honestly, like asking, you shall receive, because I don't had like a lot of surgery on my stomach, I'd never really liked my body before. I'd never loved my body. I'd used to like be really disgusted because I had like my spleen and my gallbladder scar. And like when I came out of my surgery, my stomach was calm, and I put my hands on my stomach, and I loved my stomach. I'm like, wow. And then like that was the pinnacle point of like, from the crash, this was like the change then. And while I was on, do you know what, I always go to call it maternity leave. I wasn't on maternity leave, I was on sick leave from having a hysterectomy. And do you know the amount of times I've said I was on maternity leave? It really was. But I suppose it was a rebirth, wasn't it? So while I was on sick leave for 6 weeks, I was just scrolling on Facebook, and I saw like, do you train to be a life coach? And I was like, yeah, I think I do. Bearing in mind, I've got a degree at this point that I've done nothing with. So I was like, yeah, I do. So I signed up, and I wanted to do the life coaching, I wanted to do the neuro-linguistic programming, and the universe had given me 6 weeks to do something where I could literally do nothing but lay there. Like, that was all I could do. And rather than just sitting there and watching box sets, like, I was sat there, because for each of these modalities, I needed to watch like 40, 50 hours worth of training. Do you know what? I spent days back to back, watching all of these trainings, whereas if I was in work, that would have taken me years to find the time to do it. But I literally, within that 6 weeks, I was a fully qualified, I'd gained all the hours that I needed. I then started to need to work with clients, and it was then I really kind of realised, like, this is my actual calling. Like, you know, I could do something here to help other women, as in the story that I've been through. So this is where the penny started to drop, that it's like, right, okay, I'm here to help other women. But the question is, who do I help? And this was the thing that I struggled with, because I was like, I started off as a chronic illness coach, like, okay, let's help people with chronic illness heal themselves, because I'd read Dr. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural again after I'd had my hysterectomy, and my ego was still in place, because I'd read like, oh my god, these people have had like spontaneous remissions and, you know, like healed themselves, and a voice in my head was like, oh, that's amazing, you could never do that. And that was the voice, the ego and higher self. I had to get rid of that voice. So in the end, I did everything that it said in the book, and I allowed my body to transcend above my illness. And that is what has actually happened, because on pen and paper, I still have what I have, but physicality-wise and energetically-wise, I know how I feel. I know how amazing I feel. And it's not about what is written on a piece of paper, it's how you feel. So again, it was like, right, who do I help? And then it was like, do I help people going through menopause? Do I help people going through hysterectomies? Do I help people? And I was so confused for so long, because I was an expert in all of these fields, because I have lived it, I've experienced it. And I started working with a coach, and I was just like, literally told her everything. And she's like, what about a manifestation and mindset mentor? And all of a sudden I was just like, yeah, because it combined everything. Because as you know, when you are an entrepreneur, you're not just a businesswoman, you're a businesswoman with a backstory, and you might have menopause, you might have PMDD, and you might have a chronic illness like I had. Like, all those things were there. So by me trying to decompartmentalize myself and like, I just help you with that, whereas a manifestation and mindset mentor is, I'll sort your fucking mind out, and I'll sort your fucking energy out, and I will help you align with the life that you are meant for. So it kind of brought everything together, all my gifts and abilities, and put it in one nice neat little package. And that's what
it's delicious as well. I'm so glad that you did. Oh my gosh, I love that. You're so right, and I think that brings up a lovely point, because a lot of women who are maybe sort of at the earlier stages of their business, and like you, having that moment of like, well, who do I want to help? Like, what do I want to do? It starts. Stop! I was avoiding the word. No, it's so true. Like, niche. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
What is the one person you help with their one problem? I'm like, who the fuck has one problem? We all have loads of problems.
Exactly.
Exactly. All. Fucking one problem.
Oh, honestly, it drives me mad too. And I just think, you know, we're so complex as human beings. My postie's like waving at the door. Oh my gosh. We're so, I know, partial. I might just leave it at the door. Awesome. There's so many, we are multifaceted people, right? Like we're multidimensional, we have multiple interests and multiple skills and multiple, you know, expertise. And it's like, when you're trying to pigeonhole yourself, you're missing out on actually truly, like you say, getting to that point where you really understand who you are and what you bring to the table on a much deeper level. And that's really what people connect with, right? Like that backstory, that whole journey that you've been on is the thing that allows people to step back and say, I can have that too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think your coaching is, you are a product of your own coaching, if that makes sense. So it is like, it's your lifestyle, with how you show up, how you speak, who you are. Like, this is the product. Like, if I was still here now, like, Dedo, like, yeah, I'm going to help you feel so much better and help you be confident with visibility, like, no one would want to work with me because I'm not that person. I've not had that transformation myself. So I think it's really important when you're picking someone to work with. It's like, are they who they say they are? Like, what is their story? What have they been through? Have they just, you know, had the most plateau of life, and then they're like, oh, I've learned to go and be a self-love coach, but really I'm with a narcissistic partner? That person isn't who they say they are. Like, you have to be. I always say, like, again, I receive downloads of how to explain things to people, and the way healing works, or the way to work with someone is when you are wanting to work with someone, they are just on an energy above you, so they are helping you align, they are helping you heal to that energy, and then at that point then they might do their own healing, so they move up a level, so then you go and then maybe work with someone else, but then again that person like will want to work with someone else. Like, I have a coach, you might have a coach, and I've always had a coach, and my coach has a coach, and her coach has a coach, because each woman is working with someone that is a level above them to help them get to their next level, to help that person get to their next level. And that is how it works. And the people who are like, well, I'm not paying for a coach, I'm not willing to invest in myself, and it's like, well, that's good for you, but you're never going to go anywhere in life, because, and I don't mean that in a horrible way, but if you're sat there like unwilling to invest in yourself, like, I love investing in myself, and every time I have done, I've leveled up and leveled up and leveled up, and it just goes to show that even the people who I aspire to be like, they have their coach because they aspire to be further above themselves. It never stops, but the unwillingness to invest in yourself shows the lack of self-love and belief in yourself to take yourself to these next levels every single time. Healing never stops. If someone's coming up to you and saying, I'm healed, and it's like, no, you're not. Healing never stops. Healing is an onion. It peels away a layer. So if you need to be a certain degree of healed to get to that next level, that's what you will be. And when you get to that next level, it'll peel back the next side of the onion, because for you to heal as an entirety, your fucking head would fall off trying to deal 100%. With it in one go. So the universe just allows 100%. You to deal with that next level of healing. I don't know what question. No, we
love a tangent. I love how you've explained that, because I think we're obviously both coaches, so we're obviously biased, right? We coach, we love to coach, we love being coached, we understand the value of it, because it's an addiction, in my opinion. Once you start to realise how you can completely change your reality, you want more of it. And again, coming back to your earlier point, it's not about what's on paper. Forget about what's on paper. This is about how you truly feel, not just in business, but in life. How you wake up in the morning feeling, how you actually feel, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your relationships. And it doesn't have to be that everything is perfect in your life. Of course, that is never ever the case. There's always more. There is always more to. It doesn't. But
doesn't exist.
You can get to a place of alignment, and you can get to that point, like you say, where you've reached a certain level of self-awareness, of healing, of personal development, of self-awareness, where you start to be able to realise how much control you actually have over your life. Yes, and once you get to that point, the world is your oyster, because you start to... It is, my girl! You start to realise, like, I can change my reality. I can change my income. I can make more money. I can sign more clients. I can be healthier, happier, fitter, stronger. I can improve my nutrition. All of these things come down to that essential point of you getting to the point where you are like, I will work on myself, I will invest in myself, whether that's coaching, reading, podcasts, cutting toxic people out your life, and spending time and having conversations like this one right here, what we're having, which is really honest and open, where you don't feel judged and you don't feel like a complete stranger, and people are really respectful of you and your opinion, because not everybody has that in their life, but you have the ability to do all these things, but you must first decide to get curious and to start investing in yourself, time, money, energy, all of the things, because that is what opens doors. It's not a strategy, it's not a marketing, system. The stuff you do, the inner work that you do, is the thing. It is the thing that will change ultimately how you feel in your life, and ultimately the results that you get from everything that you do.
It's so true though, and it's like, for a stark contrast, once upon a time I used to put my boy in bed, go downstairs, make a treat bowl, go and sit up in bed and just sit and watch Netflix, right? And that was what I was doing every night, yeah? And now I barely have the TV on. Like, obviously I'm fucking always busy doing stuff and like doing my business and things like that, while I'm like reading a book. To be honest, I'm always on the computer doing my business because I'm just so obsessed with it. But like, it's all about what can I do for myself? Go for a bath, go and do this, go and do that. And I spend so much time working on myself and my energy, because the more like I say, it's never job done. There's always more to do, and it's always just peeling back those layers of just releasing that old self, releasing the old self. And in essence, whether you are spiritual or not, you are always going from your ego to your higher self. Your higher self is the highest version of you. It is the highest expression of what you can be, and that is like that's source energy. That is when shit starts to really happen. And the more you move into that, that's just when the right people come into your life, the right places. You're in the right places. And like, if you're ever looking at someone like, oh, they're so lucky, and I'm like, no, they're not. They've created that look with their energy. So it's just all about mindset, energy, manifesting, healing.
I know. We've just both got so much to say. We're like, oh yes. What do you think is that thing that you would tell yourself at the beginning of your business journey that you wish you knew sooner?
Do you know what? When I started my business journey, I didn't believe in myself, and this is like one of the things that I help now with women with coaching. And I really had to, like, honestly, I had to have a massive word with myself, because I was running like multi-million pounds worth of accounts in a corporate world, but all of a sudden when I had my own business, I'm going to flake. Like, I could go in board meetings and like chat shit for like hours about a subject that I had no interest in, but then all of a sudden when I've got interest in it. So I think the main thing was like, you are limitless, like you are unstoppable, and to believe in yourself and just to allow all those fears and self-doubts. Those fears and self-doubts belong to the ego. Your higher self doesn't have any of that, because your higher self knows that you are fucking rocket fuel, you are going. So I think to cut a lot of crap that I went through and had to heal through, it would just to have a bit of future version of it going, you're going to be big, kid, and like, just go for it. Like, failure is not an option, because if something isn't working, pivot. If it's not working, pivot. And I've had to pivot many times in my business. It's not just a case of, I'm just going to keep doing this and expect a different result. Like, that doesn't happen. Give it 3 months, 4 months. If it's not work, change. And it's about that evolution of the business, isn't it?
I love the word pivot. I use this with so many of my clients and so many of my coach friends. A pivot, right? And there's a brilliant scene in Friends. If you haven't seen it, you can go on YouTube and look at it, where I think it's Ross is shouting pivot at his friends because they're trying to get a sofa up this really narrow stairwell, right? And that is what business is like. Eventually, you're going to realise that the sofa isn't going to go that way. So you have to pivot. You have to move, like physically take action, do something differently. And that is entrepreneurship. Pivot. Do it differently, do something else, shake it up a little bit. And once you've done that enough times, I do think you start to be able to remove some of that fear, because you're like, well, it's fine. I've done this. I know the world is not going to collapse around me. And it is scary. It is scary, all of this. I'm not for one saying that it is, none of this is, some of it is terrifying. But like you say, you have to have that. You have to build that belief enough in yourself to actually do the thing. Because no amount of reading books or coaching or podcasts or whatever, retreats, will change things for you until you start to actually implement and integrate all of this into your life, what you're doing every day. Yes.
Aligned action. Step 3 of manifestation. It is the mindset. It is the energy.
Yes.
And it is taking the action needed. And there comes the whole comfort zone thing, doesn't it? But I've never done it.
You've got to do it. You have got to do it. You have got to just push through that. And I think if you really want it, like if you really want your business to succeed, and you really, really want the freedom that comes with that, and you want, you know, to work in this role where you really feel like you're making an impact on your industry, you really do have to get visible about it, and you really do have to just push through all of that stuff, because otherwise you're just going to stay stuck doing the same things over and over again, getting no results, and actually probably making yourself feel even less, even less like any of this is working. And it does come down to, I think anyway, like you said, that personal development, you know, get a coach, do whatever it is that you want to do that feels good for you, but take aligned action.
It's like one of the, you know, like the resistance sometimes that you hear with things is, you know, like, oh, I don't have any money, or I don't have this, and it's like, like, if you really want something, you find the money, but also as well, it's more to the point of what I'm hearing is you don't value your transformation enough to want to put that first, because it's like I see people that are like, I don't have the money for that, but then I'll see them pictures with like all nice nails and things like that, and it's like, so you've got money to get nails done, you've got money to go and get, you know, a full face of Botox and filler done, but you don't have money for a coach. Like, it's, again, what are you valuing in your life? And it's about, I've been in situations in my life, like, obviously, when I split up from my son's dad, I was like a homeowner on my own. I literally had to get all my bank statements out, and it was like, right, cut that. Like, I literally, like, my bills are like so thin now, and I had an ethos like, if it ain't glued down and I don't need it, it's getting sold. You know, like, it was a real trim the back kind of thing. Like I lived on Vinted, and, you know, it's because I needed to collate quite a lot of money to be who I wanted to be and to get to where I wanted to be. So, and that's one of the reasons why I do offer payment plans, because I remember there was a coach that I wanted to work with, and she's like, yeah, I need all the money up front. I'm like, well, that's not realistic. So I make it a little bit more realistic for people. But again, if you're telling yourself, I don't have the money, it's a lack mindset. And also as well, what are you valuing in front of that? Oh, a Netflix subscription, a Prime subscription, or something else. And it's like, think about it. Like, really analyse in your life where you are spending your energy, your time, and your money. And is that more important than you fulfilling your dream of doing what you want to do in your life? Like, if you want,
you will though. You will. And I love this, because this is relevant on two fronts, right? It's relevant, like you say, from a consumer point of view, the client, the customer point of view. If you are someone who wants to take on coaching, or wants to have a coach or buy a course or whatever, you will find the money. It's not a money thing. It is, like you say, where you place value. And from the other point of view, from a business perspective, so much of your market is exactly that, showing people the value that comes from personal development, from investing in themselves, from whatever kind of course or program or whatever it is that you are. Make sure you are expressing the value of that, because that's, at the end of the day, what people will pay for what they see value in. I spent $58 buying a replacement toy for my daughter because she's lost her little comfort teddy, and I'm shipping this for $60 nearly, so that she can have the same teddy, right? Because she's lost it and she's so emotionally attached. 60 quid, well, dollars, right, for this one little teddy toy, because there is value there for me. Because my daughter is heartbroken that she does not have this teddy, right? I know it's really sad. We're actually all really sad about it. But my point being, you will spend your money on what you see value in. And if you don't value yourself, if you don't have the self-respect, if you don't have the self-awareness to understand that actually you are your solution, that at the moment you're also currently your own problem, and not in a way that, I don't want you to shame yourself, I don't want you to blame yourself, I want you to understand that I'm saying this from such a place of love, because I was that person. But you are your own problem as well as being your own solution. And in order to move through that, you do have to invest in yourself. You have to do the hard thing of not sitting watching Netflix every night, and instead reading or learning or being in that more kind of active state of self-care and rest, some meditation, some yoga, a bath, whatever that might look like, and taking some responsibility for how you're actually, what your compound actions are every day, and how you're going to switch that up to make it move you towards what you want rather than further away.
It's, again, it comes down to like what actions are you taking to move towards your goal. And it's like, I always like to break things down is into like ego and higher self, as in like, is what you're about to do, is that for your greater good or because you want to do it, as in like, okay, yeah, you know, I want to go and have this glass of wine and just sit and watch TV. It's not like, obviously you've got to get a balance, but you know, things are always for the greater good. Is this going to get me closer to
like, no shade, I watch Netflix now and again with some snacks. It's great, right? Especially with the kids, and we have a Friday movie night and I love it. But if I was to do that every single night, I'm missing an opportunity to serve myself, my business, my kids, and all the things that are actually important to me. I'm missing an opportunity to serve the future version of me, to serve the kids, you know, my health, whatever. And in every moment of every day, you, like you say, you get that choice to pick. And sometimes the choice will be to have some telly time, like to have some rest, some time with your friends, a drink with your pals, whatever it is that floats your boat.
Downtown.
But if you're continuously choosing other people or other things over yourself, that does have a compound effect, and it does have a cost. Pick wisely. No, I'm just joking. Be kind to yourself always. That's
because you find that most people that do that, then they complain that like, well, I'm never getting anywhere, I'm never doing this, I'm never doing that. And I've done that myself. I remember before I'd started my business, I was sat with my best friend, and you know, my partner has his business and she had hers, and I was like, you know, I'm just not going anywhere in business. And she said to me, like, in the most beautiful way, like, because I had all my qualifications, blah 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 blah. She's like, so what are you actually doing about it? And I'm like, nothing. Like, you know, and it was because I wasn't taking the aligned action, because I didn't believe myself. So everything that I am saying, I'm not like, do as I say, not as I do. I've been there, I've lived it. I've like sat in denial, like, you know, I can just put, I've qualified now, so therefore the universe is going to deliver to people to me magically. No,
I think we all do. I think we all do. Oh, I know, but like, as I say, we've both been there. Like, we've both been there, and it's said from such a place of love and like genuinely, you know, being the type of people that we are in the journey that we've both been on. We want you to succeed. We want you to push. We want to push you forward. We want to help you realize these things sooner and quicker, so that you can start to implement them sooner and quicker, and not have to wait so long for all of this to start making change for you, right? And so much of that is just getting yourself out of your own damn way and doing the thing. Because you can absolutely do it. I love that, and I know that we've been going now for an hour, so I'm going to finish with one final question. Jenny, what do you think has been the key to your success in business, but also, I guess, finding that balance, like you say, from being a mum and everything else that life throws at us, right? Like, what do you think is that thing that's helped you feel really successful in what you're doing and get that balance in life and business?
Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? What has helped me? I would say probably like the energy work that I've been doing, because that has allowed me to maintain the balance. And if I didn't do any of the energy work, because some days, like, I finish with clients, because I'm like a bit of a sponge, so I help people transmute energy, but I take it on. So sometimes I'll be walking around the house and I'm feeling really heavy and like, you know, dithering a little bit, and then I'll go and get into a bath, or I'll have a cacao, or I'll go and get outside on the ground. So it really is about understanding that you are an energetic being, whether you are on a spiritual journey or not, and understanding that the constant need to release is going to get you to elevate higher. And with that said, if you are an energetic being and this is your energy, okay, if we're trying to pour it into everything, then you're going to run out of energy quickly. So it's also deciding what needs my energy at this moment in time, because obviously as a single parent, I'm trying to do pack lunches, I'm trying to take them to school, I'm trying to do my business, and it's like, it's got burnout written all over it. So it is about, like honouring yourself, like, okay, if I leave the washing today, is the house going to blow up, or should I go for that bath? It's about not trying to spread yourself so thin that there's nothing left of you at the end of the day. It's not about trying to show up for everyone and everywhere all at once. It's about, right, okay, think about this now. What needs my immediate attention? And just learning to understand that you can't be everything to everyone all at once, trying to spin all the plates. It's just like, right, concentrate on one pillar, what needs doing at that time. So I think, spending my energy wisely. On the days when I've got lots of energy, I'll be like on my computer, and on the days where I'm like, shit, I need to go to bed at 8:30 tonight, honour that. Follow your body, follow your heart, follow your instincts, and just do what you feel is right
that
for you.
So much. Do you know what? There are so many days and weeks where my laundry is piled right high. I'm like, I kind of look, I'm like, I've got some housework that really needs done. I'm kind of particular about the bathroom, but besides that, I'm like, see, as long as the house is clean, it can be a bit of a mess. There could be laundry sitting around. Because, do you know what, I can't always spend my energy on that. And I used to, like I was saying before, I used to be so particular about certain things. I used to be very perfectionistic. I used to really stress about how my home would be perceived by other people. And eventually you learn that if you are spending your energy constantly trying to make other people happy and trying to maintain this unrealistic state of perfectionism in your home or wherever that is, I'm not saying don't have a nice, clean, tidy environment. There are spaces in my house that I'm very protective over. However, you can't do everything all the time. And if you're growing a business, you're not always going to have your laundry done perfectly and put away in one day, right? Mine takes 3 to 5 working days. Like, there's going to be things... 3 to 5 Oh yes, there's going to be things that you're going to have to let go of in order to do this. And I think spending your time on like we were talking about, that aligned action, rather than just throwing up a piece of content that is really not doing very much for you. Spend a bit of time in conversation. Like take the action that maybe feels a little bit more scary, but is so much more impactful with that small amount of time that you have. If you've got kids and stuff and you're busy, do the thing that's actually moving the needle rather than wasting time doing things that actually aren't making that big of an impact, because you're spending your energy, like you say, it's an energy leak. You're constantly leaking energy with all these things that are not actually moving you towards your goals. They're taking up lots of time and energy.
I love that. And if you're telling yourself that you can't do it because you've got kids and you're busy and you've got single parent and blah, 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 that's just a narrative that you are, like, following down. It can be done.
It is so worth it.
It is graft.
It's so worth it. Well, listen, I could speak to you all day, but honestly... Jenny, I'm obsessed with you. I'm obsessed with your business. I'm going to leave all of your information below so that anyone who wants to can come and interact with you, engage with you, and immerse yourself in your world. And again, thank you just so much for being so open and vulnerable with us and sharing these parts of your story and this part of your journey, which I think it just demonstrates beautifully, with all of these challenges, with all of these restrictions, with all of these barriers, you have built something truly beautiful for yourself, something totally aligned, and something that not only allows you to grow spiritually, but is now helping other women do the same. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye!
Bye.